Hello again. So I want to deal with a couple of things that often come up in the discussion of reincarnation and karma and dharma and samsara as we move from Hinduism into Buddhism. Because I wanted to be clear that Buddhism is deeply, deeply rooted in the Hindu culture out of which Gautama came. He was a prince, right? You'll learn that. If you didn't know it already, you'll learn that in this first unit on Buddhism. He's a Hindu prince. And so his terminology, he talks about dharma and samsara and karma. He doesn't embrace the concept of moksha. He brings in his own new concept of nirvana. And we'll talk about that more over the next 2 weeks. But it's important to understand that dharma is at the heart of all of it for Hinduism and for Buddhism. For Buddhism, here's the big difference. In Hinduism, dharma is closely tied to the caste system. Right now, some of the reformers are going to say, no, not so much. But traditionally, for long periods, most of the culture, there's dharma, universal order, and you individually have your svadharma, your personal dharma, which is directly tied to your caste. And if you don't uphold that, you, in essence, threaten the universal dharma. Never fully, because it ultimately is going to happen. There's a sort of, for some Hindus, it's a very hopeful thing. There's nothing you can do to wreck it. For some Hindus, it's a very deterministic, fatalistic thing. There's nothing you can do about it. It could be understood either way, but the reality for the Hindu is that dharma has a lot to do with the way you should live in light of who you are, what caste you're born into, what stage of life you're in, whether you're a man or a woman. One of the big things that the Buddha is going to do, many of the reforms that you've seen come way after the Buddha, but the Buddha, 500-ish BC, that era, this Prince Gautama, he looks at life and he rejects the caste system entirely. In some sense, he's reaching into the essence of Hinduism, that all of this stuff is illusion, that what you call yourself isn't real, right? Because the jiva, what's the jiva? That's not the real self in Hinduism. So Buddhism takes that aspect very seriously. There's no jiva, there's no self, there's no soul. He's going to say, we'll see that in the lectures and in the readings. So Dharma is embodied in the teachings of the Buddha, and Dharma will be the same for everyone. What does this have to do with heaven and hell and life and karma? There is in Hinduism a sense of heaven and hell, but they are temporal. They're not eternal. The eternal cycle is samsara, life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth. And there are many Hindus who think that happens to the universe through ages and ages and ages of eternity. There's this, everything comes back together, and then boom, everything goes back out to multiplicities and works its way through Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, the Kali Age, destruction, and then everything comes back together, and then boom, it goes back out. There are Hindus who think that samsara is the ultimate. There are Hindus who think that moksha is the eternal state, that everything will return back to the one eventually. The Buddha doesn't lay out his eternal state that well. There is a sense of hell and heaven in Buddhism, but it's all part of the illusion, because this world is illusion. Your sense of self is an illusion. Everything is an illusion. That underlying idea is present in Hinduism, but the Buddha takes it to the full. He takes it to its logical conclusions as he reforms Hinduism and no longer leaves it as Hinduism, but really creates his own path, his own way of life. We'll see with the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. But it uses this terminology. Dharma is the way the world is, but Dharma is embodied in the teachings of the Buddha. And Dharma does not involve a caste system, because the same rules apply to everyone. Remember, in Hinduism, if you're a soldier, you may have to kill, and you shouldn't worry about being killed or killing. It doesn't really matter. For the Buddha, Life is an illusion, but nonetheless, no one should kill. You can't be a soldier and kill, according to the Buddha, in a sense. Though Zen Buddhism does interesting things with that. There's a form of Zen that's connected to the shoguns in Japan, the samurai. But we won't get into that right now. But in essence, for the Buddha, everybody is of the same class. They're of the same standing. What is right for everyone. What is wrong for everyone. It's much more similar. The Buddhism is incredibly distinct from the understandings of Christianity, Judaism, Islam. In many ways, it is similar in this, that for everyone the rules are the same. There's no caste. There's no divergent rules. Everybody has the same standards by which they should live. So we'll be looking at that. This week you'll be looking at the life of the Buddha in a documentary, and there's some short lectures and his first sermon, the Deer Park sermon, for you to read. So we'll be talking about Buddhism now for 2 weeks, and then jump into our discussion board is going to look at how Buddhism uses but then transforms Hindu concepts. So keep that in mind as you watch, as you read. Where do you see aspects of Hinduism? How does it change?